Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the McGonagall Boxing Podcast. So we're going to be breaking down the fight in ring, blow for blow tomorrow. But I want to be talking about tonight, the face, head to head, the ring gate, the weighing and all the surrounding drama that's leading to the fight tomorrow night with Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders. I really think at the moment Billy Joe Saunders has got the upper hand in terms of the mind games. Canelo doesn't look overly rattled, doesn't look overly intimidated or angry, but he's definitely rattled slightly, isn't he? He's trying hard not to show it, but you can tell it's that annoying agitation, which isn't boiling over to losing the plot. It's not like a Ricky Hatton against Mayweather where you're like, oh my goodness, he's completely spilled over to like a lunatic in the weigh-in. But he looks agitated. He's not used to someone sticking it on him verbally like Billy Joe has, talking about the beef. You like beef, getting in his face, pointing his finger, saying, I'm number one, giving him a real stare down and look. It's not respectful handshakes like it was with Canelo Smith or Yildirim. It's full-on banter with Billy Joe, and it's full-on verbal barrage, and he doesn't like it. And this was evident in the foyer when he walked past Team Billy Joe and started swearing at him. It was evident in the first face-to-face. He looks rattled, and that's credit to Billy Joe. He doesn't like, clearly, the ring gate issue. Again, Billy Joe, and I believe, would have probably gone home. He stood his ground. He's now 22 square feet ring they're fighting in, which is great for Billy Joe. And it's things like this. And the weigh-in today, they're both looking in great shape. Canelo, as always, looks ripped. Billy Joe looks ripped. He looks strong. He looks healthy. He doesn't look weight drained. And I was very impressed the way he carried himself, because the weigh-in, he had 5,000 screaming fans, all screaming for Canelo pretty much. And he didn't look phased, he didn't look rattled, and he just took it all in his stride, like bring it on. I liked what I saw from Billy Joe today, positive body language. I like his verbal back-to-back. He's always going to win that exchange of Canelo, whose English is broken, and isn't, let's face it, as good a talker as Billy Joe is. I like the fact Tyson Fury's in his camp, a huge presence which takes the kind of star power away from Canelo, takes all the attention, which is normally happens with Canelo pre-fight, away from him. People are starting to talk about Tyson Fury and Team Billy Joe, so it's fantastic. The stars are aligning, I think, but obviously that might mean nothing come fight night. But I just think it's a good little build-up. I don't think you're going to see Billy Joe freeze. I don't think he looks nervous. I think he's a man who totally believes in his ability. Like I say, he hasn't lost a fight in the pro ranks. 30-0. He's barely lost an amateur fight. And he hasn't tasted defeat, I don't think, since 2008, 2007. And that was in the amateurs. So he's a class fighter. He doesn't know how to lose. Canelo does. And let's be honest, Canelo, yes, looked good against Callum Smith, who had a 4-week training camp and didn't look anything like the fighter we've seen in previous fights. He fought, let's be honest, a bum in Yildirim, who was just there for the paycheck. And before that, he was getting outboxed, outpointed, outjabbed, outmaneuvered by underprepared, shot pretty much Kovalev. For 11 rounds before he gassed out and got caught. So there's nothing to fear, I don't think, for Billy Joe. Obviously, the body shots will be probably coming in from Canelo. He's going to try and break him down to the body, but Billy Joe, I believe, is ready for that. I think he's quick enough, elusive enough, and smart enough to adapt. And I think he's going to sting Canelo a lot more than Canelo thinks he is with his punches. And yeah, there's a chance that Billy Joe gets caught late, gets knocked out. Could happen. Could happen to anyone. Like it happened to Khan. There's a big chance that Billy Joe gets robbed. Boxes Canelo's head off and gets robbed by the judges, who, let's face it, with 70,000 screaming Mexicans, are going to have to be brave enough to give Billy Joe the decision. But the great thing about it is the whole boxing community and the whole boxing world will know who's won the fight if Billy Joe does box Canelo's head off. So it's a win-win, and Billy Joe goes home with a massive paycheck and with his pride and really the belts on it in his possession, even though he won't be awarded a decision. So I like what I see. The vibe's good. Doesn't always translate to the ring, but I just think it's a good start. It's a good onus, and it's positive. Unlike Chisora last Friday, where it was all kind of negative and you feared for him, I think Billy Joe, and in many ways that translated to the ring, I think Billy Joe's got the momentum with him. I don't think you've seen Canelo rattled like this probably since the first Triple G fight, or even the Mayweather fight. Triple G first fight was 4 years ago. The Mayweather fight was 8 years ago. So it's a long time since someone's got in his head like this. I'm not saying he's completely gone. I'm not saying he's lost the plot. He's raging, but he's rattled. And a rattled fighter can make mistakes. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And listening to the American pundits, a lot of them don't rate Billy Joe. They see him fight these average fighters on undercards, like the Jake Paul one a few years ago, and they think that's the real Billy Joe. It's not. It's the unmotivated, underperforming, undertrained Billy Joe. They haven't seen him at his best. They haven't seen the motivated Billy Joe, the one who toyed with a prime David Lemieux, or beat, a prime Andy Lee, who's very, very dangerous. These fighters are very, very good. Genuine world-class fighters at the time. And yes, Canelo's probably a step up from that, but it doesn't matter, because Billy Joe's a step up as well. I like what I'm seeing. I like the face-offs. I like the self-belief. It's all to play for tomorrow. We're going to have a breakdown tomorrow, but at the moment, it's definitely advantage Billy Joe.